anyone could do to stop it. And I'm curious to know, who do you go to above a judge? Because there doesn't appear to be anybody. There is a panel of people that nobody knows who they are. There's like three other judges that are charged with oversight, but you don't know who they are. You can make a complaint and send it in, but that's
Yeah,
it.
Okay,
family court's weird because like with the other stuff they push it up because it becomes human rights stuff. Family court is a lot of the same stuff, and they just don't want to hear people cry about, like you might have got screwed or someone might have got screwed, and it could be just, but they don't want to hear from the thousands of people who were told, "Hey, you got to pay child support," and they're like,
Mm.
"No, I'm appealing that decision," and or whatever.
I just don't believe that should be within the court's purview as
I don't either.
exactly what it
The
is.
Constitution says that the government doesn't have a right to tell you how to raise your children, yet they do it every day.
Right. And that's exactly true. It's those gray areas like that is what you got to watch out for.
I'm not sure family court's a gray area, man. It seems to me, and I understand at certain points in time in history, it might have been necessary to have certain steps up for certain situations and protections put in place. Like, we're not doing the divorces like we did in 1789 with the long, drawn out process of carrying your wife out behind the woodshed and executing. That doesn't
Mm.
happen anymore. It's not acceptable. That's completely out of the question. And yes, that was a Family Guy reference, but you know, that kind of stuff ain't a thing. That's not a thing. And the situation that existed, say mid '60s, back when men largely ran the world and men largely made the rules. Anytime a woman ended up in front of a court, it was in front of a court full of men. That's not the case anymore either. And you end up with these female judges who have no children, or their children have met
Right.
years before, or they've been married the whole time and have never been divorced, or they never got married and live with 57 cats. And these people are trying to tell you how to raise your kids, what you can and can't do.
Right.
And I can agree, we shouldn't be beating our children.
Right.
To spare the rod, spoil the child. I don't beat my kids, but
Yeah, there is a circumstance where CPS or DSS or whatever you want to call them, where that's a necessary function and they should be there for that. But they
right.
don't hardly ever have cases like that. Most of the time, they're picking on parents who get caught in some kind of drama at school or whatever and have no idea how to handle the situation. And before it's over, your family's gone and there's nothing you can do to stop them. They
And as far as
totally overstep their line.
I mean, the system might be flawed, but I still think there needs to be a place for that system,
Yes, definitely.
because you
we're
can't
not
just
saying that it shouldn't
let it go
exist.
wild and do whatever.
I'm saying personally that
Yeah, I
having
know.
watched how the local family court goes, it is a man who goes into our here in Georgia, our local family court. Any man who walks into that court, I don't care if he is the best father on earth, the court will judge for the woman. In Mississippi, it's
Most of the
different.
time, yep.
In Alabama, it's different. The judgment tends to go, right around 50-50 in Alabama and goes straight to the father in Mississippi.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying is, there's issues in those courts, like all
Mhm.
courts, and they need to fix those issues and get rid of
The
personal
family
bias
court
that people
shouldn't be separate
have,
from normal
but
court.
they still serve a purpose, in my opinion.
Okay. And we're welcome to your opinion. And I mean, I don't know where you live. I'm not sure what type of environment you're in. And the larger the city gets, the more likely you seem to come across people who are more abusive. I mean, the population density increases with the bell curve, and then the mental illness increases on the same bell curve. And, so the more people you get in an area, the more likely you are to deal with people.
Yeah, from what Cheese just said, I do believe in child support, but alimony is a bit of a weird situation where it's,
Yeah. I agree with you, Cheese.
like why, like except for certain rare situations, like it isn't like the past where everyone can have now jobs. So like
Right.
just being like, hey, I was married to a rich guy, so I'm dependent on a rich life now. That's not how that works. You know,
No.
go, you know,
I say you leave with what you
or
came in with.
They
or
want to be.
even
They want to be
even the
held. They want to
opposite.
be held.
There's
Yeah.
like what Brittany and that K-Fed guy or whatever. Like
Mm.
like he got alimony out of that stuff, and like you know, it can go either way, but it's still a weird situation where like you're gonna get money just because you're married to someone with money.
Right. Well, I agree that if you've lived with somebody for 20 years and you have an expected lifestyle, that if you separate amicably, then the other party should help you establish a new lifestyle. But if you married somebody for 6 months and they're a millionaire and then you walk out with half their money just because you married them, that's not right.
It's not
Well, I'm
right at
not
all.
talking about like getting like like half the stuff or something, because if you're married for 20 years, it's a collaboration over the time, you know.
Yeah. If there's
But
no
continuous
children
payments
and no
seems a little.
actual time invested in the marriage, you should leave with what you got there with nothing.
It's agreed. Yeah. I mean, it's agreed.
I don't have anything in particular negative to say about that one.
But
I'm a big.
just to clarify though, we're talking about custody, not alimony. So,
Yeah, well, you're talking about your specific thing is the custody one, yeah.
well, it's a hypothetical, but yes.
Well, I mean, you're hypothetical, but you know, I guess we were diverging into general.
Yeah,
domain.
and we're all in different states, and there's all kinds of like individual little.
Oh yeah, different
laws.
states. Yeah, different states, different rules.
It's hard. And Cheese has another good point here. At the very least, why don't we have accountability for child support? I've seen women with hair and nails done, and their kids are dressed like hobos.
Amen.